Words are weapons, and narcissists know exactly which ones cut the deepest. They don't just communicate, they program. Every phrase is designed to make you doubt yourself, question your reality, and hand over control without even realizing it. In this video, I'm going to show you 7 phrases narcissists use to control your mind. These aren't random insults, they're precision tools. And once you recognize them, you'll see the manipulation happening in real time. By the end, you'll know exactly what these phrases are designed to do and how to protect yourself from them. Let's begin. Phrase number 1. You're too sensitive. This is the narcissist's favorite deflection. You bring up something that hurt you, and instead of acknowledging it, they tell you the problem is your reaction. You're too sensitive. You're overreacting. You take everything so personally. Here's what this phrase actually does. It shifts blame from their behavior to your emotional response. Now, the conversation isn't about what they did, it's about what's wrong with you. And over time, it trains you to suppress your feelings. You start thinking, maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I shouldn't feel this way. But here's the truth. Your feelings are information. They're telling you something crossed a line. And when someone tells you you're too sensitive for having boundaries, they're really saying your boundaries are inconvenient for them. This phrase isn't concern, it's control. They want you to stop reacting so they can keep doing what they're doing. Phrase number 2. I never said that. This is gaslighting at its most direct. You remember a conversation. You remember what they said, and they flat out deny it ever happened. I never said that. You're misremembering. That's not how it went. What makes this so effective is the certainty. They don't say, I don't remember it that way. They say it never happened, period. And they say it with such conviction that you start to doubt your own memory. Did I mishear them? Did I imagine it? Am I losing my mind? That's exactly what they want. Because once you can't trust your own memory, you have to rely on theirs. And their version of events will always make them look innocent and you look unstable. Narcissists don't just lie, they rewrite history. And this phrase is how they do it. Phrase number 3. You're just like everyone else. This one's subtle, but devastating. It implies that you're not special, that you're disappointing them, that you're failing to meet some standard they set. You're just like my ex. You're just like everyone who's hurt me. I thought you were different. Here's what this phrase does. It makes you want to prove you're not like the others. You start bending over backward to show them you're special, loyal, understanding, whatever they need you to be. But here's the trap. The standard is impossible. Because the narcissist isn't comparing you to real people. They're comparing you to an idealized version they created in their head. And you'll never measure up to a fantasy. This phrase keeps you constantly trying to earn their approval. And the harder you try, the more control they have. Phrase number 4. After everything I've done for you. This is emotional debt collection. The narcissist reminds you of all the things they've done, real or exaggerated, to make you feel like you owe them something. After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? I've sacrificed so much for you. You're so ungrateful. What this phrase actually does is weaponize kindness. Every favor, every gesture, every act of support becomes leverage. Nothing was ever freely given. It was all an investment they're now cashing in. And here's the cruel part. They'll bring this up whenever you set a boundary or express a need. The message is clear. You don't get to have needs because you're in debt to them. Healthy relationships don't keep score. But narcissists do. And this phrase is how they remind you that you're always losing. Phrase number 5. You made me do this. This is accountability evasion. The narcissist does something hurtful, and instead of taking responsibility, they blame you for causing it. You made me so angry, I had no choice. If you hadn't pushed me, I wouldn't have reacted that way. This is your fault. What this phrase does is transfer ownership of their actions to you. They're not responsible for their behavior. You are. You provoked them. You triggered them. You left them no choice. And over time, you start to believe it. You start walking on eggshells, trying not to set them off, thinking if you just behave better, they won't hurt you. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for someone else's cruelty. Adults control their own actions, and anyone who tells you otherwise is manipulating you. Phrase number 6. Why can't you just let it go? This is the narcissist's way of shutting down any conversation about their behavior. You try to address something they did, and they act like you're the one being difficult by bringing it up. Why are you still upset about that? That was so long ago. You're dwelling on the past? Can't you just move on? Here's what this phrase actually means. Your feelings are inconvenient, so I want you to stop having them. It's not about resolution, it's about silence. They don't want to discuss what they did because that would require acknowledgement, accountability, maybe even change. So they frame your need for closure as obsessive, petty, or vindictive. And if you keep bringing it up, they'll make you feel like you're the problem, like you're the one dragging things out, like you're incapable of forgiveness. But unresolved hurt doesn't just disappear because someone tells you to move on. This phrase is designed to bury issues, not heal them. Phrase number 7. No one else would put up with you. This is isolation disguised as a compliment. The narcissist positions themselves as the only person who truly understands you, tolerates you, or loves you despite your flaws. No one else would put up with your issues. You're lucky I'm still here. Anyone else would have left you by now. What this phrase does is trap you. It makes you believe that you're fundamentally unlovable and that the narcissist is doing you a favor by staying. And here's the insidious part. They'll point to your real struggles, anxiety, trauma, insecurity, and frame them as evidence that you're too damaged for anyone else. They'll make you feel like leaving them would mean being alone forever. But this is a lie, and it's a lie designed to keep you dependent on them. The truth is, healthy people don't stay with you out of pity or obligation. They stay because they value you. And anyone who tells you you're too broken for anyone else to love is trying to convince you that you don't deserve better. You do. So those are the 7 phrases. And if you've heard even a few of them in a relationship, you need to understand something important. These aren't accidents. They're not things people say when they're upset or having a bad day. These are strategic. They're designed to destabilize you, make you doubt yourself, and keep you under control. And the reason they work is because they sound almost reasonable. You're too sensitive sounds like feedback. I never said that sounds like a misunderstanding. Why can't you let it go sounds like a request for peace. But underneath each phrase is the same message. Your reality doesn't matter. Your feelings don't matter. Only their control matters. Now, here's what you need to know if you're dealing with someone who uses these phrases. First, trust yourself. If a phrase makes you feel confused, defensive, or like you're losing your grip on reality, that's not an accident. That's the effect it's designed to have. Second, don't engage with the phrase itself. Don't try to prove you're not too sensitive. Don't argue about whether they said something or not. Because the goal of these phrases isn't communication, it's manipulation. And you can't win an argument with someone who's rewriting the rules in real time. Third, set boundaries. If someone consistently uses these phrases, you need to decide whether you're willing to stay in that dynamic. Because people who genuinely care about you don't systematically undermine your reality. Let's talk about why narcissists use these specific phrases. It's because they work. These phrases exploit normal human responses. You want to be reasonable, so you're too sensitive makes you second-guess yourself. You want to be fair, so after everything I've done for you makes you feel guilty. You want to trust your partner, so I never said that makes you doubt your memory. Narcissists aren't stupid. They understand psychology. They know which phrases trigger shame, guilt, confusion, and fear. And they use them strategically to keep you off balance. The more confused you are, the more you depend on them to define reality. The more guilty you feel, the less you assert your needs. The more isolated you feel, the less likely you are to leave. That's the system. And these 7 phrases are how they maintain it. But here's what changes everything. Awareness. Once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Once you know what these phrases are designed to do, they lose their power. You're too sensitive stops sounding like feedback and starts sounding like deflection. I never said that stops making you doubt yourself and starts making you trust your instincts. No one else would put up with you stops sounding like truth and starts sounding like desperation. Because here's what narcissists fear most: you realizing that you don't need them, that you're not too broken, too sensitive, or too difficult, that your reality is valid, that you deserve better. And the moment you see these phrases for what they are, control tactics, not communication, you take your power back. So now you know the 7 phrases. You know what they do. You know why they work. The question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to keep accepting these phrases as normal? Or are you going to start recognizing them for what they are? Weapons designed to break you down? Because once you see it, you can't go back. And that's exactly the point. The narcissist's greatest tool is your confusion, your doubt, your willingness to question yourself instead of them. But now you're not confused anymore. And that changes everything.